Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of the Hawaii Film Critics Society in 2024. It's our summer movie wrap-up and fall movie preview. I, of course, am Greg, one of the reviewers and members of the Hawaii Film Critics Society. And, of course, I am here with the founder and the professor of cinema. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Barry Wurst. Barry, welcome to the show.
Hey, Greg. As always, thanks for having me.
Ain't no worries, man. No worries. I'm glad you could make it. And I'm very excited to talk about what's going on because we haven't been here since I think it was the summer movie wrap up and fall preview of 2023.
Yep.
I think it was the last time we did it. The Barbenheimer.
Yes, the Barbenheimer effect. Yes, where everything else just kind of didn't matter. It was all about two movies last summer.
That is correct. Oh, I made us a little bigger, by the way.
Oh,
there we go.
Nice.
Much bigger, much nicer. Okay, so anyway, let's get right into it, shall we? Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there supposed to be another one of them Barbenheimer events this year? In summer of 2024, there was, wasn't there?
It's like like Deadpoolenheimer with
right, something
Lively
like that,
whatever. Yeah, no, they always try to.
That's right. It was that ends with us and Deadpool thing. They were trying to. That's what it was. You're right.
That was the one. Yeah, no, and but they did fine. Right. I mean, they didn't need to, to do like a Cronenberg body fuse. Like those movies did just fine by themselves.
Well, listen, Barry. Can you give us where we can find you and all of the rest of the Hawaii Film Critics Society members? I can tell you where they're not on this podcast, but can you tell them where we can find their work?
Yes, absolutely. Love to. Rick Chatanever, who I think most local readers know him from the Maui News. He also has a wonderful blog called Adventures in Words. Check that out. Myung Choi has MC on Film, his YouTube channel. Let's see, Terry Hunter, of course. I think everybody knows Terry from Hawaii News Now. Aron Medeiros.
Hey, we had him on the show. He was fun.
Yeah, he's awesome. Love Terry.
He was fun.
Let's see, Aron Medeiros, he's got his letterbox page. He's written for various outlets. Likewise, Jaron Agbanawag, and Jaron is often on the Tony Midnight Show on Akaku.
And you can find him on. Can't you find him on YouTube as well? That's where the majority.
Yeah, he's busy with his YouTube channel. Got hundreds and hundreds of movie reviews, so check that out. Let's see, Jason David, of course, format for the Nerd Watch. Mm-hmm. Gary Kogel, who let's see, kind of a TBD where he's going to be putting out his new reviews, but there's Gary, and then Emerson Gu, who is the most recent member of the most recent film critic to become a part of the Hawaii Film Critics Society.
Oh,
Emerson's a brilliant critic, and he writes for Film Comment. And
I don't remember voting for Emerson Gu. But no, I'm just kidding. That's great. I haven't had a chance to meet him.
He's great. Yeah, Emerson's. I haven't met him either. I know his work, and we've communicated through email. But yeah, he's very talented film.
Is he on the islands?
He's on Oahu.
Oh, he's on Oahu. Okay, yeah. Great. Mm-hmm. Yep. Awesome. All right.
Yeah, and then I write for Maui Pulse, ScreenGeeks.com, and Hollywood in Toto.
I've noticed your stuff in ScreenGeeks.com. Yeah, I mean, you obviously have a lot of ties there as well. And then I also noticed that Christian loves your work. I loved having him on the show when he was on.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun talking to him. I do. What I like about Christian, and not like we need to get into this, but what I like about Christian Toto, or Hollywood in Toto, by the way, you should check it out. I like that he has what I enjoy is that he's different from the norm as far as movie critics or people that talk about movies. I really enjoy his takes. I really enjoy what he's doing. And dare I say that sometimes his opinions or his observations may not be the most I don't want to say popular, but something that's not mainstream, but I like it because it's different. And I think that's why everybody should go to Hollywood and Toto and check it out. Because, yeah.
Christian pulled me in because he needed a horror movie writer. That's how I first started writing for his site. And I just published an article on the 1979 Salem's Lot. And Christian,
oh, did you?
Yeah, and I love the original. Christian just wrote a review about the new one that's premiering on HBO Max in just a few days.
Right. That's
He was,
what that
he was
I
not the
remember
biggest
that.
fan. Yeah.
He's not.
No, he was a bit let down by it, and he still feels that the 1979 Toby Hooper movie is superior. I've not seen the HBO Max version, but I'm still
Neither
a
have
fan of
I. Neither have I. Well, listen. Let's stop gushing all over these snobby movie critics, and let's just get right to it, shall we? Anyway, this should be fun. It should be light. Summer movie wrap up. I know we're doing it. I don't think it's late. I think I think this is right on time because the fall is coming up. Matter of fact, the fall movies, in my opinion, start October 5th or October 4th. Is it Friday the 4th?
I thought it was September 27th. The fall began.
Well,
I don't know.
No. The fall technically starts the 21st of September, but
Okay.
I think as far as movies go, nothing major comes out until the Joker. Right, that's going to be the first big October movie, isn't it?
No question. Yeah, the first October movie.
So,
the Beetlejuice right now, I feel like Beetlejuice was kind of, but Beetlejuice
it was in the middle,
floating between fall.
Right, it was floating, and I considered it more towards summer than fall. So maybe that's my issue.
You know, I used to get into this on the Nerd Watch podcast because
right.
every year summer would be whatever Fast and Furious movie was opening.
And that's
April.
what I'm saying.
Like,
I think that's why we're having.
No, it's April 2nd. It's not it's not summer, but.
I'm telling you, this is why we're having a problem dealing with this because we cannot gauge where summer starts because there is no Fast and Furious this year. So I think it may be easy. Yeah, that's the problem. So it may be easier when it comes out. I think it maybe next year or the year before, year after. I'm not too sure. But anyway, we're getting two more. Now. We're getting two more, I think, isn't it? Or is it one more?
I think I think two more. I think you're right.
I think it's two more.
Of course, they're going to end on a trilogy. Of course they are.
Of course they are. Of course they are. Who doesn't want to see Vin Diesel and The Rock back on screen together?
And Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. All right,
I'm my favorite thing about that last one.
All right. Well, I definitely want to go into space again. So the summer movies of 2024, Barry. I would say that overall, I mean, as far as how I would gauge them, it seems that it's not. For the last 2 years, in my opinion, there's nothing that has pushed people to the theaters, with one exception this year, and I think, in my opinion, is a fluke. But you go ahead and you tell me where you want to start in the summer movie wrap up of 2024.
Okay, well, let's start in early May. Let's start with a really weird film to sort of get the summer off, and that was The Strangers Chapter 1, Rennie Harlin's prequel to the film that originally starred Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler.
Right. What, I guess what since I have you here, I like Rennie Harlin's direction. I just don't know what has been going on with him. He did a movie with Aaron Eckhart called The Bricklayer. It's on Netflix now. It's actually pretty good. Rennie seems to be a guy that has kind of, I don't want to say this, but he's fallen out of favor.
Yes.
In Hollywood. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe you can explain that. I didn't have a chance to see The Strangers Chapter 1, but I've heard mixed reviews on it. What say you?
Rennie Harlin probably fell out of favor with Hollywood because of a movie called Cutthroat Island, which is, prior to Pirates of the Caribbean, Cutthroat Island was sort of responsible for destroying the pirate genre, as we know.
Oh, that's right. And he destroyed Caracol Pictures as well. Remember Caracol? Carolco. That was the
Carolco. Yes, Carolco.
That's a Carolco Pictures.
That's right. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah. No, he was number one for a while. I mean, he made some of the most iconic action movies in the 1990s.
Yes.
And for as far as I'm concerned, he gets a get out of jail free card for life because he made The Long Kiss Goodnight, which is one of my favorite
100% right. And Rennie Harlin did The Long Kiss Goodnight, one of the best action movies ever. And by the way, that was in the 90s, and that was a chick heroine. That was a woman hero in that movie, and it wasn't. Women heroes are not new. Just everybody go watch The Long Kiss Goodnight. It's amazing.
I do remember when Lucy came out. It's like, this is a first. Like, it's not a first.
Not.
Gina Davis, like that movie has a body count on it too. Like that. Yeah, The Long Kiss Goodnight is not messing around.
I'm surprised as as outspoken as Gina Davis is on women's issues, that she doesn't bring that up more often, right? You get a lot of people getting, a lot of women getting credit for being the first of this, and we've kind of changed this agenda. It's kind of more female oriented in the 2020s, but Gina was the one. I mean, let's be honest. There was Ellen Ripley, there was Sigourney Weaver before her,
Yeah.
but I mean that was a genre picture. This was an action movie that she led, and it was incredible. So, anyway, that was a little side note. I threw you completely off. Rennie Harlan, please.
No, thank you for
Strangers.
bringing it up. I'm always happy to talk about The Long Kiss Goodnight. And by the way, Samuel L. Jackson has made over 100 movies now. He still says that's his favorite role. Long Kiss Goodnight.
Fantastic.
So,
I love that movie. I can
hey,
go
if
back and
anyone's
watch it
listening to
anytime.
this, like, what is this movie? Check out The Long Kiss Goodnight. If you love action, it's the best. Shane Black wrote it. It's so good.
100%. And then since you like Shane Black, I'm throwing us off again. Go watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yes, great double feature right there. Yeah,
right there.
See, right there, Greg, we've done our job as the Hawaii Film Critics
All right.
Society. Right there, we can just wrap it up tonight.
All right, listen, it's time. Listen, guys, Hawaii Film Critics. No, I'm just gonna go ahead.
Strangers Chapter 1. It's not bad. It wasn't bad, but it didn't bring anything new to the table. It really didn't. It basically was just sort of a really slick remake of the first film. I wanted a lot more from it. Harlan's ability with action sequences and set pieces is still intact, but I didn't care about the couple the way I cared about Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler in the original film. I do feel like the original still has it licked because the freshness is gone inevitably. They set it up for a second film. Apparently there's supposed to be a prequel. I don't know that we need one, but we're apparently getting one.
Well, from what I understand, they made this one even though the second film after the one with Liv Tyler was not well received.
Right. The Strangers, I think, Pray by Night. I think that was the
title. Right. And so, is it something that, do you think that now that it's out of the theaters and you can get it digitally or physically, do you think it's worth a watch?
I don't think it's a bad film. It hasn't stayed with me, honestly. And that's one of the problems with The Strangers. I mean, it's scary to think who those people are under the masks. We never see who they are. And that's kind of it's one of the things about it, because it's very, it's very Charles Manson. It's very this sense of like, it could be anybody. So the first film still maintains its power. I do think it's a disturbing film. The ending is cruel, but it is extremely effective. And now, unless this trilogy is going to go into who these people are, and it's going to be something provocative and interesting, especially because this new film establishes this town. So if it's about how there's whatever, like a sect of people doing this, if there's a cult, if there's something to it, that might be interesting. But right now, I mean, it's a well done slasher movie, but it's still sort of middle of the road.
So what you're saying is that if you happen to see it on cable, then give it a shot.
I say give it a shot. But one of the things that's unfortunate is the ending sets up Chapter 2 pretty clearly. It establishes very clearly what Chapter 2 is going to be, and we've seen it before.
Got it. All right, so that's mid. So what else we got on that summer movie wrap up?
Not right after that came Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is one of my favorite films of the year. I love this movie. It's a long film. It's a very, to put it very politely, it's a slow-paced film. I would say it's a carefully paced movie, but no, it's a slow film. It's not in a rush to get to the action sequences. It's very character-driven. I didn't know that we needed any more of these movies after Caesar, and to remind everybody, there's no Andy Serkis in this film. But I love this film. I thought it was engrossing. I really cared about the characters. I was always invested in the apes, and the special effects are so good, I forget I'm looking at them.
Ironically, this is the one that isn't directed by Matt Reeves. This is directed by Wes Ball, the man who did Maze Runner films.
Yeah.
That I think are, I think they don't get enough credit for as decent as they are. I mean, I don't want to say decent because that's not fair, but they're pretty good. You would say like, preteen action flicks, maybe.
Yes, out of all the post Hunger Game movies, I think they're probably the best. Yeah.
Bingo. That's that.
Yeah,
Thank you
better
for
than like Divergent in those
right.
movies. Yeah.
Right. So Wes, see, this is sadly, I've only got to see bits and pieces of it, but I really am looking forward to watching it because I was, I still think that the second one is my favorite. I think Rise of the, is it Rise? No. It's dadgum,
Dawn.
Dawn of the Planet of the
Yeah.
Apes. Yeah. War of the Planet of the Apes was, or what? War is the fourth one.
The third one.
Third one. That's right. Third one. That's the
Yeah,
Woody
it's
Harrelson.
Rise, it's Dawn, it's War. Yeah.
Rise. Okay, got it. Fair
Yeah.
enough. And so, you know, you think that Wes Ball did his job and made something that was befitting of the films that came before it?
I do. I do. I think that the richness is there, the complexity is there. One of my favorite things about this, and I thought you would really be into this, is that the new film is about weaponizing the iconography of Caesar. This idea of like
Right.
treating Caesar like, are we treating him like a hero? Are we treating him, it's like they're trying to basically make like the t-shirt version of Caesar.
Right.
So it's this idea of like, are we actually acknowledging who he was, or are we just weaponizing the idea of a warrior, plain and simple?
Right. Now, how would you I guess I don't want to say it this way, but how would you as good as it was, how would you explain its failure to connect with the audience and be as big as the other three? Do you think
It
that
did
there was
well. No, it did well. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't a like a total smash. I mean, one of the reasons it's the fourth in these movies.
right?
Like, it's funny. Like, we talk about the Tim Burton film, like it's this huge disaster. The Burton film is extremely divisive, and I'd say sort of an uneven film. But I mean, it was a smash blockbuster hit because it was the
Mm.
first new Planet of the Apes movie in decades.
Yeah.
So now we're on the fourth film, and the Kingdom did very well, no question. But it was also an extremely expensive movie. So
And that's what I'm talking about. Like it just they needed to break even, and I don't think, I don't think they even did that, even though it
I
did
think
well.
the foreign box office will really help a lot. I'm sure what it did overseas is really going to help. But no, I mean you're not incorrect about that. I mean when these movies are that much of an investment, they need to make like $300 million just to be able
Right.
to just to break even. And this didn't do that kind of money, but I feel like the quality is there, and I suspect it's going to find a continued and appreciative audience. Certainly, being on Hulu now.
Yeah, right. I was just about to say it's on Hulu, so it's easily accessible in that respect, and it's in 4K. And I think that everybody should go take a look at it. And I think, don't they still they say they have one more that they want to do?
I think there's supposed to be two more. I
Two
believe
more? Oh
I think
wow,
they're thinking about a trilogy, but yeah, we'll see where they go with it.
wow, that's crazy. All right, so what's next on that list, sir?
Well, a very divisive one. I almost dread bringing this one up because this is a movie I loved, and I suspected everybody else would love it, and that is not the case. And that's Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, the
Mm,
George Miller film.
mm,
I loved this movie so much, and I know it didn't connect with very many people at
not at
all.
all. It's
No.
so. I think that I think that I think you're right. I think and this is the sad part, right? I don't think that it wasn't the direction. I don't think it was the actors. I think it was the story. That's my and that and after because I've seen it. And I think you and I discussed this before, but I think it was the story itself. Direction was spot on. It's George Miller. George Miller knows how to shoot Mad Max movies, right? But he wanted to make us know that this is not a Mad Max movie, right? I mean, that was kind of, it may be set in that universe, but it's not. That's not what this is. And I think that we gave him a pass with Fury Road, and now I understand why after watching that, now I understand. After watching Furiosa, I understand why Tom Hardy was Mad Max and not Mel Gibson, because it was Mad Max before Mad Max became Mel Gibson as the actor. Obviously, I think they concentrated on the wrong character, in my opinion. I think Furiosa, the mystery of Furiosa in Fury Road was much more interesting in me not knowing, right? I mean, at least that's the way I felt. And unfortunately, I felt that for as good as Chris Hemsworth is, I felt like he was the Snidely Whiplash of this movie. There was nothing. I was not scared of him. I was not. I was not. I didn't. I didn't find it like. I didn't feel like he was putting any other characters in peril. I didn't. I thought the story was a little confusing. I don't know. I really don't know. And like I said, because I'm a guy, I'm a collector. I have it. I have to go watch it again. But on that first viewing, I was not impressed. Not the same way I was with Fury Road. And maybe you can shed some light on what it was that maybe I missed.
I don't know that you didn't miss anything. I mean, we've spoken, you and I have spoken about this many times before. The thing about a movie like Hannibal Rising, it's not a bad film necessarily, but we don't need to know this about Hannibal
Right.
Lecter. That character
100%.
has power through mystery. And I honestly, I can't argue with you. I mean, Furiosa, the less we know about her, the better. I don't know that we really needed to know how she lost that arm,
Yes.
But what I loved about the film, and again, like I feel like I'm alone on an island here about this, but it's mythic. It's mythic. It wants to be. It wants to be the thing of legend, and I did feel like Chris Hemsworth's performance. I really feel like it did bring it. I mean, he's not playing an evil villain. I mean, we still have, we still have our great villains from the first film as well. But I love that Hemsworth is playing someone who is unreliable, both as a villain and someone who kind of wavers between being an ally and a sort of even a father figure. I love the ending, how they ultimately confront each other, and it becomes, it feels like something out of a David Lean film or even like a
Alejandro. I agree with that.
Film.
I agree with that.
So yeah, there's obviously more CGI in this film, and I think that was another thing that really rubbed people the wrong way. I don't mind it as long as it's being used as a storytelling tool, not as a means to an end. And clearly, the stunt work was really gnarly. Clearly, everybody is risking their life, not to mention their health, to make a film of this caliber. It's not Fury Road, which I think is just about perfect. That's one of those movies I liked the first time I saw, but just
Fury
year
Road
after year, it's just like this is one of the greatest action movies ever. Furiosa is not that.
No.
But there is that mid sequence, that mid movie action sequence where part of it is in the air, part of it is this truck siege. It's one of my favorite scenes of the year.
I have to tell you that I think that, and like I said, once again, I'm not the movie maker, but as someone who is watching the movie, I think it would have benefited us more to not have Furiosa be like Mad Max or be like Max Rockatansky. I feel that, because he doesn't talk very much, right? I think it would have benefited us if we had heard from Furiosa more. You know what I mean? Like, we don't. If you're going to reveal the mystery, I think it would have been better for us as an audience to connect with her, not just through her actions, but through her words, the things that she said, because we get to see her from a child and moving up in this strange world that she was not familiar with. And I'd like to hear how it's made her feel or what her reactions are. It doesn't, everything seemed to be, I don't know. It just seemed to be off to me. Right. Like she just everything just, and it's not Anya's fault. I mean, by any Taylor-Joy's fault. It's just that it's the way the movie was constructed, I guess, is my issue. So ultimately I felt and like I said, in this Film Critics Society, I think you're in the minority.
Yes.
Ironically, you are.
Yep,
and so, yeah, it's I guess my question now is, now that that's over, do you think they go back to the well?
I don't think we need any more Mad Max movies. I don't.
Okay.
And it's not because I don't want them. I don't know where you'd go from here. And
Right.
I feel like it, especially the way Furiosa visually references Mad Max, which I thought was a really wonderful moment. It feels like all the chapters have been told. I don't know that we need to keep going. I mean, one of the things I love about this movie, it's very reminiscent of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. It does feel like they have literal chapter headings.
Yeah.
And it's very episodic in that way. Fury Road is just like one, it's really like 3 long action sequences, so you almost feel like you're experiencing the story in real time. Whereas this is so episodic. It's put apart by chapters. So, and I think that worked fine for Beyond Thunderdome. And I think it works brilliantly for this movie, but all I have to say, like, I don't know that we need more of this because I feel like Miller, especially at this part of his life has given us more than enough of this than we could possibly want.
I agree. Before we move off of Furiosa, I will say this. I was watching an interview with George Miller, and George Miller was asked, "Hey, why haven't we done more with Mad Max? Right? Why haven't you gone back to doing Max? Because that's what everybody knows and familiar with." He said he's not interested in doing a Max movie. He doesn't want to do an old man Max movie.
Hmm.
Going back to that. Well, he doesn't want to do an old man Max film,
Yeah.
like Old Man Logan, I guess, from Wolverine. But I guess that doesn't interest him. He's not. That just is not his bag, baby. So I don't think so. Right.
Oh, you muted?
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, good. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. Anyway, I think that where did I leave off? Did you hear where I left off?
You're talking about Old Man Logan.
Oh yeah, Old Man Logan. I think you're right. I don't think we need another Mad Max movie. I think it's for me. It's sad that we end on this one, but I think you're right. I think we're good with what we got. 100% right. Anyway, moving on. What else was on that list?
John Krasinski's If came out afterwards, and I think this is one of the biggest disappointments of the year for me. I had a weird experience with this movie because, for one thing, I didn't like the film. I don't think it's very funny. I think it was a very odd and kind of clunky concept, and I didn't like the big reveal at the end. I don't think anybody in this film is really in their element. Visually, it's an interesting movie, but it kept me at arm's length, and I know it's definitely a personal thing too, because I brought my daughter to see it. Not only did she not like it, but afterwards we're in the lobby, and she's like me. She loves movie posters, movie paraphernalia, and they had all these If posters, these imaginary friend posters that you could take. I'm like, B, do you want one of these? And she's like, no. Like, let's go. And then like the contrast being a week later, I took her to the Garfield movie, and she loved the Garfield movie. She has the Garfield movie poster up in her room. But yeah, with If, it didn't connect with her. It didn't connect with me either. I thought it was a very wonky premise, and I feel like the movie tonally is a bit of a mess.
I agree with you 100%. I think that If was the biggest disappointment of the summer for me. I was not. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what John Krasinski was trying to accomplish with it, the way he made it. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't know what he was. I shouldn't say that I don't know what he was trying to accomplish. What I should say is that it was sloppy, and I felt as if this was a movie that I wouldn't share with kids. Is that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't share it with kids. I mean, I know that sounds strange, but for me, that's the case. I'm like, I don't find myself going, well, this seems like a really cool kids movie. It seems like it's an adult movie with kid sensibilities in it, but it doesn't feel like I would. Yeah, it's so strange. Like, this is the first time watching, and this is going to sound really strange, but because it should, I mean, it should be every movie, but it's the first time watching a movie where I felt that Ryan Reynolds was playing Ryan Reynolds. I mean, that he gets accused of that a lot, but I mean, this one I really felt that way.
Yeah.
And I thought that the ending was actually really creepy.
Yes. Completely agree.
Like super creepy. And I don't think, I really don't think that that's how you want to end that movie, especially with when you find out at the end, because once again, you feel weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was not a good flick. And once again, the best thing about that movie was Steve Carell's performance, in my opinion. That was what I was looking for, but the tonal shifts, like you said, were so off that it even made anything with him in it uncomfortable. So, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I thought If was a huge disappointment. Absolutely huge disappointment. And I feel like there was another movie that was cut out of that movie. That's how I feel. I feel like there was another movie in there, but it got put on the cutting room floor. But that's just me. Anyway,
That's an interesting point, Greg. I mean, like it reminded me of a film that I really admired when I was younger, and I don't like it anymore, but I recognize the ambition. That's Radio Flyer. Do you remember Radio Flyer?
oh yes, that was
Yeah,
a great movie as
that's
a
a
kid, but
weird.
that movie sucks.
Yeah.
Let's be
I,
honest.
I'm gonna give it a little more credit than that, but I think it's a very similar thing where like the intentions are good. You want to do something that's fantastical and it's a children's film, but you want to do something that's deadly serious. But that movie is so off. It's so
Yeah,
tonally off
yeah,
and wrong. And it has an ending
yeah.
that doesn't make any sense in any way,
Right,
fantasy or reality. And
correct.
I felt a lot of that watching If. It's like I appreciate the good feeling here. I do, and I appreciate that he's trying to do like a movie that's not just cutesy wootsy, but it actually has some ambition, actually deals with adult issues. But the thing is, like, okay, but don't forget who your audience is. And I feel like he made a movie that neither adults nor kids can really get invested in, and that's when you know you've lost us.
See, and for me, from I was thinking about this. For me, it would have been better if we were looking at it through John Krasinski's eyes, because he's lost his sense of being an imaginary friend, not his kid. Like, I don't, have his kid be the one that's pushing him to that. I felt like this needed to be flipped. This needed to be flipped on its head. John Krasinski, and this is how it wouldn't have been creepy, or maybe it still would have been creepy, to be fair. But if John Krasinski and Ryan Reynolds were the two people that we were talking to and relating to, I think this would have been a much better movie. And if he was the one that was saying that this is ridiculous, I can't even believe any of this is happening, blah, blah, right? Like, and he's looking at these people, and and he's trying to find what he lost when he became an adult and put in the situation that he was in. Like, that would have made much more sense to me, right? Instead of, and once again, she's not bad. The actress who plays daughter, she's not bad. It's just a very sloppy movie. And
Yeah.
it's a real shame. It's an absolute real shame, because it looks like they put a little bit of money into it.
Oh yeah, I mean that Tina Turner "Better Be Good to Me" dance sequence. I mean,
Yes.
watching it, all I can think is like, this looks expensive. This looks
Yeah.
like they spent so much time in this. But I mean, I'm watching a sequence. I'm not watching a scene that pulls me in.
Correct. 100%. And so, if you can, if you're listening or watching, avoid at all costs. You will thank us later. Anyway, moving on your list of summer movie wrap-ups.
Well, one of the most talked about films of the year, and unfortunately not one of the most successful ones, and that's Kevin Costner's Horizon: An American Saga, Chapter 1.
We should have had Chapter 2 by now.
I know. Yeah, our friend and Hawaii Film Critics Society member Aron Medeiros, he reminded me the other day. He's like, I have the ticket on my phone. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to say this. I have a soft spot for Kevin Costner films, obviously, because, as you know, Postman is my favorite Kevin Costner movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You and my wife. Wow.
Oh yeah.
I don't get you two, but
Oh
anyway,
yeah.
please continue.
Oh yeah. Postman is one of the best movies ever done. But, I mean, listen, there's no way that his performance.
Please state your case, Greg.
There's no way that his performance in JFK or No Way Out can compare to the brilliance of his acting prowess in The Postman.
What are you even saying now?
Yeah. I mean, not even 13 Days even comes close to his performance in The Postman.
To going every town.
That's right.
Postman.
Every town has a postman.
That's right.
But I think that there are two factors at play with Horizon. Getting back to the point, I don't think people want to sit in a theater for 3 hours anymore. That's one. Two, I think the Western is a great genre. One of my favorite genres of all time is Western. I just don't know if it's the genre for now. I don't know. Maybe I'm incorrect, because I can't think of a Western that has captured an audience in a very long time.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think his ambition for this project has maybe outweighed the logistical issues involved. I will say the fact that he believes in it and he put his own money into it to get it done says something about him and his character. He wanted to do it, so he put the money up for it, and this is what he did. This guy he's got 4 movies. He's got 2 done, 1 and 2. The third one's already being filmed, and he's got a 4th one. I think that, and from all intents and purposes, at Cannes, they premiered part 2 of Horizon, got a much better response than the first one, and it's apparently a much better film. I don't think that, and like I said, I think that this is a movie that you watch at home. I think, in my opinion, I know that he's trying to recoup his cash back. This should have been something that should have been a 3-hour series, right? Or a 3, 6, 9, 12-hour series on HBO Max. It should have been and if he wanted to release it in 3-hour increments, this is where it should be. I think that this is a perfect example of how Hollywood has got to start embracing where people are now. And I mean that as in, it's unfortunate that the way things are going, I was wrong about it during COVID, but my diagnosis still stays the same. The lust to go out to the movie theaters is going by the wayside. And I think that you have to capture people where they are. And I think if that means budgets need to come down, expectations need to be lowered, then that's what's going to have to be done. I think this is an incredibly ambitious film. I think that we should get the other 3 for sure. I hope we get the second one ASAP. I think it's only fair. You promised it to us and then took it away, right? I think the performances were good. I think Kevin Costner is good. I just don't think now is the time. He's trying to do something which I admire, which is his philosophy was he's trying to make a movie about to tell the story of where America has come from, right? And once again, not to get too political, but we're at a crossroads in this country where no one can get along, and I don't think anybody really cares, right? Right? Everything is vilified from the past. Everything is looked upon as not great. And I don't think anybody was prepared for the film that he was trying to do, and that's why nobody went to go see it, right? And to be fair to him, how long has it been since we had a movie that was a Western and didn't have aliens in it or superheroes in it? You know? So anyway, what are your thoughts? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take up the whole conversation, but what are your thoughts?
I don't completely disagree with you. I mean, I do feel like audiences will go. That's one of the things about the movies that I've never lost my optimism, my enthusiasm for. I mean, if there's something that people want to go, they will definitely check it out. So I feel like it's one of these things. It's always in the hands of the audiences how much the brick and mortar movie theaters exist. However, I think you're very right about this film. I think Costner overestimated the appeal for this movie, and I think he overestimated the experience that people wanted to have with this film, because apparently, according to the ratings and according to the rubrics and whatever, people are seeing this movie, but they're seeing it on HBO Max. They're seeing it at home. They're seeing it on Amazon. A lot of audiences would rather see Bad Boys for Life than go to see this film, and it was a very interesting experiment too, because I'm with you. I like Horizon a lot. I really do, and it is one of the rare pure westerns. You're right. I think the last western we had that audiences connected with was probably 3:10 to Yuma. I think it's been that long ago. And that was like 2007. It's been a while. But westerns, but you're right, Greg. Like, they go through these weird periods. I mean, there was a period where westerns were dead and buried, and then Young Guns of all things, that happens, and it brings western back. And then you had a period where it was like Unforgiven, and then and Tombstone. But then Wyatt Earp made people go, oh, okay, like we don't want a 3-hour epic western. We thought we did. So
unironically, a Kevin Costner movie.
Ironically, yeah. Yeah, and one of my favorite movies of the past 20 years is The Assassination of Jesse James by the Carol Robert Ford. And that movie had Brad Pitt in it, and
And
nobody.
that never gets talked about enough, by the way, in my
It's a
opinion.
brilliant film. Now, I
Yes.
hope I hope the Criterion or somebody picks that movie up and nourishes
Agreed.
it. It's a
Agreed.
work of art. But yeah, westerns. I mean, this is one of the earliest genres. I mean, when movies got started, westerns and musicals were what was. It wasn't comic book movies. It wasn't horror films. Westerns and musicals were like they were commanding the ship. Like they were. That's
Stagecoach is one of my favorite westerns of all time. All time.
Yeah, there's so many classic westerns, but a lot of them, as you've indicated, a lot of them, they star Gary Cooper and John Wayne. Over the last 20 years, I mean, they pop up sporadically, and sometimes they connect, they don't connect. And the problem with Horizon is that clearly watching it's like this clearly is a movie I need to see from beginning to end, because there are characters that vanish,
Right.
there's subplots that go away, because
Right.
clearly they're going to be addressed in chapters 2, 3, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct.
And that's fine when you're binge watching at home. It's a problem when you're in a theater and you're trying to get
Bingo.
invested and you're going, "Where's Jenna Malone? And how come, why did it take 40 minutes for Kevin Costner to enter his own movie?"
Correct.
So yeah, it's a noble, bold experiment, but clearly it didn't go the way he wanted. And I hate that for him, because I love Costner. I love that he's made a very square and earnest, and I got to say, a very exciting Western. But I tell you, I can't think of a more disappointing moment in a theater this year than watching the end of the film. And suddenly you have this montage of like horseback riding and gunfights. I'm like, oh man, this movie's really kicking into action. And it goes, oh, this is the trailer
for part 2.
Horizon.
Right.
Part
right.
2. Like
Right.
it's like Back to the Future Part 2 all over again.
Right.
Like I thought
Right.
I was watching a movie. I thought like, well, man, this movie, like it's a big montage, but okay. No, it's a trailer, folks. It's a trailer for Part 2 coming soon.
Yeah. Listen, Kevin, if you're listening, for
And
all
you
of
should
us,
listen, Kevin,
and
because
you
this is
should.
the biggest fan of The Postman. This is the reason The Postman grossed $18 when it was in theaters.
All I'm telling you is this: if you have enough money to make 4 Horizon films, I think you have enough money to make 1 more Postman. So
what are we talking about, though, Greg?
That is my plea.
Spoiler, but remember how that movie ends. I mean,
It's
what?
true.
You can't do a prequel, right?
To be fair, you're right, but let's be honest. It's possible that we pick up with his legacy, right, and where it has inspired others. That's
So you're ready for The Postman : Return to Sender / Chapter 1.
That's correct. 100%. I'm so down. And by the way, I say that I know people. I know I'm laughing. I really like The Postman.
I know you do.
I do. I like The Postman so much. Anyway, Kevin, I wish you nothing but the best. Listen, if you can't make the 3rd or you can't make the 4th Horizon, take that money, make another Postman. All I'm saying. All I'm saying. Anyway, moving on. Wish him luck. I do want to see the rest of the Horizons. By the way, I do. I'm all for it. By the way, you can watch Horizon. It is on Max right now. If you haven't seen it, go out of your way to watch it.
It's a good movie. It is.
Yeah. What else is
2
next?
movies I want to mention briefly, one of which is currently the top grossing film of the year, which is Inside Out 2, and the other one being Despicable Me 4. They both came out one after the other. And I found both of these to be really underwhelming, frankly. Despicable Me 4, I don't think brings anything new to the table. I don't. I don't.
I agree.
Blue, I don't think the Minions. Yeah, I don't think there's anything here. Did you like the 4th one, or?
I tell you what, I kind of tapped out. I tapped out at the one with Sandra Bullock, the one that had nothing to do with
the first Minions movie. Yeah,
right. That's when I kind of did the tap out.
Yeah,
on those movies. I'm not saying that the premises weren't good, but I think that I had my fill, as it were. Yeah. So obviously it's making Universal money, so that's why they're making them. But if 4 is any indication, it didn't do that great. So yeah, Inside Out 2, another one that's kind of a disappointment. It's on. I think it's on
Disney Plus. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think those 2 movies. I mean, it got a lot of fanfare. I mean, Inside Out 2 did, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it captures the magic that the first one had.
I'm with you. Yeah, I don't feel like I don't feel like it really offered that much. The story of the little girl is more interesting than what's going on inside of her. But what's going on inside of her has always felt like a Saturday Night Live sketch to me. I don't see it being a whole movie of the control systems of a human being. And I don't think it worked when Eddie Murphy did it with Meet Dave either. I don't like this premise. I really don't. And I feel like it's also really minimalizing and infantilizing real emotions that people go through. And I don't know that we need a movie that tries to basically make a joke, let alone a moralistic Disney movie about experiencing anxiety and experiencing all the things that are really complex, and it's very nuanced from person to person. I know that's a very serious, maybe heavy-handed thing to say,
That
but
is very heavy-handed.
I know, sorry. I don't like these movies. I don't. I mean, for me, like Inside Out 2 felt like Finding Dory. It's like it's beautifully animated, obviously, and everybody in the animation booth and everybody who animated it did a tremendous job.
Right.
But I feel like there's just something really slapdash about the emotions here. Not to mention very formulaic.
Got it. Yeah, I think that I think that the children films of the summer, I think those are pretty much it, and they were underwhelming, to say the most about those films. I think they were very underwhelming, and to be honest, they didn't do that great box office either. Even though Inside Out 2 got great reviews.
Inside Out 2 was a smash, but yeah, I mean, Despicable Me 4 also a success. I don't know. I mean, but at the same time, like I think the one that I actually prefer over the both of them was the Garfield movie, just because it's such a low stakes movie. It was, it's sort of a take it or leave it movie. Yeah, I'm waiting for a great children's film. I mean, I hope we got something coming in the fall.
Yeah, for sure. All right, what else is next?
Well, now we get to horror. Within a week of each other, we had Longlegs and Maxine. I think Longlegs is maybe just a little overrated. I was very much in admiration of Nicolas Cage's performance. I thought Nicolas Cage was amazing. I thought Oz Perkins' command of the camera is very good. He creates a very very unpleasant and very thick and menacing environment. But I don't love Longlegs. I don't. I think I liked the Nicolas Cage performance so much more than the movie. And for that matter, Alicia Wood I thought was excellent on the film as well. But that's another one of these movies where when you describe everything that's going on, I feel like it doesn't quite make a lot of sense. It works best as a nightmare. I think when it's anything like when you wake up from a nightmare and describe it to somebody and it sounds ridiculous. I think the movie kind of had that problem. I was so much more invested in the movie when it was very dreamlike, as opposed to when they literally explain the logic of the film, which I thought was kind of wonky.
One of my favorite parts in that film, and maybe it's just because of who I am and how I was raised. One of my favorite parts of that movie is when Micah Monroe, she's in the I think she's in the interrogation room where she's talking, and her captain or whatever, she's in the office and the captain talks about revelations. And I like when she stops, she looks at him and she said, "There is no S in Revelation." I love that. Loved it, because everyone makes that mistake from the Bible. And I love the fact that she corrected him. And I was like, yes, finally. It's not revelations, it's revelation. Thank you. I thought that was that. I added an extra star to my rating because of that alone. All right. So
how many stars then? How many stars did you give it?
1.5. No, I'm just kidding. No, I will say this: Longlegs, the mood, awesome.
Yeah,
I thought it was super moody, and I think I like your analogy. Thick. The atmosphere in that movie is incredibly thick. I agree. What I didn't like is the ambiguity that you're talking about, right? I didn't like Micah Monroe's entire performance. I thought she was out? Yes, 100%, 100%. I thought that the ending was captivating, but only at the beginning of that finale, and then all of a sudden I'm like, are they gonna tell us or show us what's going on? I mean, I understand that you're shooting spoilers. I understand you're shooting the heads off the dolls, and there must be something satanic on the heads of those dolls, and whatever they're breathing in, or whatever. The reason why they're shooting those dolls is because whatever they're breathing in is making them maniacs, right? Did you get that? Am I the only one that got that? You got that, right?
I did, but I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, honestly, when they show the montage of the doll going from home to home, I thought it was, I don't know. I think less is more.
Correct.
It's very odd.
Right. It was incredibly odd, and it threw me. And I wasn't prepared for it to end that way. And I think that was the biggest problem with Longlegs. Now, transitioning in from Longlegs, by the way, I gave it maybe 2.5 stars, maybe that's where I was at.
I did too.
Nicolas Cage's performance,
yeah,
top notch.
Wonderful.
Great. Nicolas Cage is fantastic. It's just everything around Nicolas Cage was not that great. And it's a real shame because, like you said, Osgood Perkins has a good sense behind the camera. He's good. He's real. I mean, I think people should watch the movie he did before, Gretel and Hansel. I think that's an
excellent movie. I love that. Yeah.
Yes. Everybody should go watch that. He's a very good. He has the sensibility with horror the same way his father does, and doesn't get enough recognition for Psycho 2. Because Anthony, his father, did Psycho 2. And I think Psycho 2, and by the way, 3, which is done by Carl Franklin, I think everybody should own that trilogy.
Well, let's see. Psycho 2 is Richard Franklin, and Psycho 3.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Yes, that's opposite. Not Carl Franklin. Richard Franklin is 2. Psycho 3 is Anthony. That's right, because 3 I think is better than 2.
It's wildly stylish. Yeah, it's very underrated for how stylish it is. There's some
You're correct.
Yeah,
You're absolutely correct. We just got to we got to be like Willy Wonka and reverse it. You're right. That's exactly what it is. Carl Franklin. Richard Franklin did the second one. I own the trilogy, but you're right. I think 3 is incredibly underrated, and I think everybody.
I completely agree.
100%. Anyway, transitioning into
Maxine. Yeah.
Okay, what were your thoughts with Maxine?
I think it's a fun movie. I think the whole thing about, again, forgive us, we probably should have said this at the top of the hour, the spoiler territory. The fact that it goes with this whole idea about Hollywood being a cabal of these lecherous cult members, I feel like I love it. I feel like Bowfinger did this better. I feel like there's so many other movies that have done this, and it's very obvious. I think it's what most people suspect about Hollywood. But I found this movie so enjoyable, and I love that it's a skeezy, sleazy B film throwback, and that it wants to be like those movies from New World from the 80s, like Angel. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's a masterpiece.
You're right. It's like Vestron Pictures. You're correct.
Yeah, exactly. You can totally see the Vestron logo before it starts. Yeah. And I mean, and it's certainly, if nothing else, Kevin Bacon's performance is completely in line with that. I don't think it's a masterpiece like Pearl. I thought Pearl was one of the best films of the year. I
was exactly going to tell you that. I thought Pearl is a much better movie. But I will say this: if for those that are listening or watching, just know that this is the third film in a trilogy, and that was X, Pearl, and Maxine.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know that, now you know. I thought X was overrated.
Agreed.
I thought Pearl was underrated, and I think Maxine is getting just about the right amount of buzz.
I agree. I think for me, Maxine is second best. It's nowhere near. I mean, Pearl is. I mean, it's just what are these shock masterpieces? Nobody knew it was coming out, and they released it. Like, do we really need this? And it's like, oh my god, this is a beautiful film. So Maxine is not on that level, but it doesn't try to be. I mean, it feels like, and I mean this as a huge compliment because I love this movie, but it feels like if there was a third feature on Grindhouse after Death Proof, it would be this one.
I agree. And I think that I personally think that there's no need for anyone else, or there's no need for you to go out of your way to watch X. Just watch Pearl and just watch Maxine. That's, I don't, if I'm honest, I don't think you're missing anything. Well, you might if you don't watch X. Maybe you are missing a little bit. You kind of need to see X.
Yeah,
you're right. You kind of do. All right. Well, X. Just know that X is the first one. X is underrated. Or excuse me, X is overrated. Pearl is underrated, and Maxine is definitely something you should take a look at for sure.
Yeah. I gotta hand it to them. They came up with a trilogy, and I think it's really good. It's really solid.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, better late than never. Joining us this evening,
hey,
it's Aron, everybody.
Hey.
Aron is here, everybody. Aron is in the house this evening. Aron, so glad.
You're looking like long legs over there. Oh, there we go. Hey.
Hey, he's here. He's here. He's here.
Now you're looking like Cousin Eddie.
Yeah.
I just came down from the Alps.
Yeah. So
good to see you, buddy.
Aron, I know you said you were coming in late, but I'm glad you're here. We are we're just about knee deep in our summer movie wrap up. We just finished with Maxine. Did you have any thoughts on Maxine before we move on to our next film?
No. I just want to talk about the best movie of the summer, which is none other than The Crow.
Okay, easy. All right, so, we're getting there. All right, we're getting there. Barry, where are?
Well, now we're going to transition to one of the worst films of the summer, and I don't think that Aron would disagree with me, and that would be a movie we do not need at all, which is Twisters.
I have to tell you something.
Absolutely true.
I disagree with both of you vehemently. I cannot even believe I'm saying this because I thought I would be in the same camp. I thought that Twisters was exactly the kind of movie for the summer that we needed. And let me tell you why. Because there were no preconceived notions walking into this movie. There was no agenda. There was no politics involved. It was just a fun movie about tornado chasing. And I thought that Glenn Powell was doing his best Tom Cruise, and this guy could be the next generation Tom Cruise if he plays his cards right. I will say this. I thought the movie was a lot of fun. I enjoyed every single minute of it. The only thing that I didn't like, and once again, I think it's, and once again, I don't think it's the fault of the script this time. I actually think it's the fault of the person that's playing it. I didn't think Daisy Jones is that great in the movie. Other than that, I thought the movie was fantastic. I just didn't think she was that good. So,
I knew I shouldn't have signed on.
I really enjoyed Twisters more than I was expecting to. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. I will say that they missed an opportunity for Daisy Edgar Jones's character to be the daughter of
Helen Hunt.
Yes.
Yeah.
They missed that opportunity. I don't know why they didn't take it. But I will say this. Twister always and forever will be the better movie. But I still think Twisters was good. I enjoyed it for what it was. So, I was not as disappointed as the both of you about Twisters. So, thoughts, Barry, Aron?
I hated the movie. I really did. I hate it so much. I don't think it's exciting. I don't think it needs to exist. I thought it was poorly paced. I thought it was full of these characters who are just just kind of waiting to develop, and they never do. I hated that it has these scenes of disaster, and they're like these really mournful, sad moments. And it's like, no, okay, no, let's go back in the truck and let's go chase another Twister. It's like the movie wanted to kind of deal with real tragedy, and I feel like it didn't. I can't stand the film. I can't stand the movie.
Okay.
I can't believe. I couldn't believe it was a huge monster hit. But a lot of people agree with you. They had a good time with Twisters.
Yeah.
I did not.
Take everything that you just said negatively about Twisters, apply that to Furiosa for me.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
I'm actually with you on that one.
Yeah, you're darn right you are. You're darn tootin'. Aron, do you feel the same? Do you feel as strongly about how you did not like Twisters?
Oh yeah.
Not good.
Me and Barry were cringing the whole time.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely terrible.
Unbelievable. I can't believe I'm in the minority on this one. I thought you guys would have liked it.
No. Tom Cruise survives Cocktail. Maybe Glenn Powell will survive Twisters. In fact, I think
I'm sure he will.
Doing just fine with Twisters. Yeah. He's doing good.
Yeah, Glenn Powell is doing great. I do highly recommend everybody that likes Glenn Powell, if you have Netflix, go watch Hitman.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Yes, that's a great movie, and that's one of the best performances of the year. Thank you for
100%.
pointing that out.
100%. Directed by Richard Linklater, who is a great director, who did Slacker, and Dazed and Confused, and the like. So definitely check out Hitman on Netflix if you've got it. All right. Now we're moving on from that movie that is very highly debated. What else we got this summer?
Well, we got two more, so we'll wrap things up because we don't. I mean, I didn't see M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. I've been told so many times not to, though I will catch it eventually. It's coming on HBO Max very soon.
Did you see his daughters, The Watchers?
I did see The Watchers. Yeah, I saw that one.
Did that fall under the summer category? Or was that
It does. Yeah, it does. I don't think the movie works. I don't. There's some interesting things and interesting moments, but it's interesting that the trailer is basically the first act of the movie, because the first act is strong. The first act is interesting. But again, it's like one of these things, once they over-explain it, it's like it worked as a Twilight Zone episode. It doesn't work when you over-explain a concept that's very, very strange.
Wow. All right, so getting back to your point, M. Night Shyamalan's Trap.
That was one of the big films. But then, of course, we got Deadpool and Wolverine.
Well, so Deadpool and Wolverine, the highest grossing R-rated movie domestically ever. I'm going to try and say not going to spend a lot of time on this, but we probably will a little bit more time. I think that Deadpool and Wolverine was a very fun film. I thought that the story was weak. Incredibly weak. And I'm going to apply something, and I hope you guys understand. I'm going to apply something to I muted Aron because there was some background noise. I'll get you back up. Hang on. There it is. Okay. The reason why I'm gonna apply my Star Wars logic to this. We got 3 mediocre. Whoa, now I'm getting feedback. We got 3 mediocre prequels or sequels to Star Wars, right? Okay. After that, everybody was very upset about the sequels. All of a sudden, here comes here, and this is, by the way, when I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about Rogue One or Solo, which I thought were good. They were in the middle. But by the time the Skywalker movie ended, right, the Rise of Skywalker ended, the next thing that we got was Mandalorian. And everyone loved Mandalorian and latched on to Mandalorian. I say this all the time. Mandalorian is mediocre at best. That series is all mediocre at best. And I think that it gets so overpraised because of what the crap that we got before. I think that's happening with Deadpool and Wolverine. We have had so many mediocre Marvel movies that we were looking for something to cling on to. And that's what we got in Deadpool and Wolverine. Story wasn't great. It paid a lot of fan service to everybody, and everybody liked that. But if we're honest, even as comic book fans, it was an incredibly mediocre film at best. And I think that the only reason why it succeeded as it did was because everything before it just kind of sucked. And so if I'm being honest, Deadpool and Wolverine, I'll own it and I'll watch it again. Probably going to be a great view at home. But yeah, I think it was an overrated movie, in my opinion. What is your take?
I like the film a lot because it's a comedy about itself, and they had a lot of time to figure out what to do with it. So it's not just Deadpool 3. I like that it's self-reflective. I think Hugh Jackman's performance is one of the best of the year, which is one of the things I think grounds the movie.
I agree.
Ryan Reynolds at this point, has a persona that not only does it work for him, but it seemingly works for every movie he's in. no disrespect, but at the same time, I mean, even people I love like Chevy Chase, that eventually got old for them. And at this moment, Reynolds is making it work. Applying this snarky attitude that's seemingly detached, and sometimes in a very amusing way, detached from everything. But the film Deadpool and Wolverine has Jackman, who is so soulful and at times weirdly heartbreaking in that movie. As funny as that film is, and I think it's frequently funny, the fact that it's a great action movie, that it's a great comedy, I think is fantastic, because that's action comedy comic book movies are not a given. Sometimes it works. I didn't think, as you remember, Greg, all too well, I didn't think Guardians of the Galaxy was going to work until I saw it, and I was blown away by this is fantastic. But
who knew that? Who knew that fascism, child trafficking, and animal cruelty could be such
Hmm.
success for Disney? I mean, well, honestly.
You have three perfect movies, especially the last two. I mean, I love the last one. The last one broke me in half. It broke my heart.
Yeah,
I was so
I agree.
moved by it, in addition to being a great film. And I do feel like a lot of that kind of praise is applicable here, because I don't think that, I'm with you. I mean, they didn't even need to try with Deadpool and Wolverine, but I think they really did. I think they did something that's very clever. But again, I do feel like the center of the movie isn't even Deadpool. I feel like that the character is getting a little old. The movies are getting a little old. But I feel like they came up with something really fresh to do with Wolverine, which is amazing, because I thought Logan was the mic drop for him, and it's not.
Aron, thoughts? Aron, can you hear me? Over. Can he not hear me?
No, you guys are frozen, and it's
Oh. There he went. All right, sweet. He's back. All right, he's back. Okay, yes. Can you hear us, Aron? Can you hear us?
okay.
All right, sweet. What are your
It
thoughts
sounds like
on?
you're lost in space.
All right, what are your thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine?
I do agree. Hugh Jackman makes that movie. I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I was in the middle. The action was very light, which I wasn't too keen on. But when there was action, it was well done. Very, very good. Yeah, I'm getting tired of Ryan Reynolds' shtick. But
Wow.
it's all about
Okay,
Hugh Jackman.
fair.
I think
Right.
Hugh Jackman truly makes that movie.
I think you guys are both right. I think you are right. Hugh Jackman does make that movie for sure. I do think though that there is one thing that it did that was unexpected. Okay, and this is where I do credit Ryan Reynolds for this film. He did something that was very unexpected, and he made a love letter to Fox, Marvel heroes, and to the people that were involved in the Fox Marvel universe. And I thought that was well done. I really think that I once again, I don't want to get into the minutia of the multiverse and all the other crap. I think the multiverse, I will say this again, and I'll say it every time. Multiverses are bad for cinema. They suck. It just doesn't make sense. In comics, in books, it makes sense. In cinema, it doesn't. There should not be any multiverses in movies. It doesn't make sense, because when you have multiverses, there are no stakes. And that is the biggest problem. There are no stakes if you have a multiverse. And I think comic book people need to get that through their freaking heads. You cannot do this stuff, because if Iron Man dies and now he can come back, then what's the point? There is none. We're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. to play another character. Do we not think he's going to be Iron Man in some other universe? I mean, anyway. That's for another podcast. Not called the Hawaii Film Critics Society. But I will say this. I was completely surprised at how much I enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine. And I think, by the way, it comes out digitally October 1st. And I think I will own it, because that's how much fun I had, and I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it very much, even though I thought overall, as far as story goes, it was mediocre at best. So Yeah, that's my feeling on Deadpool and Wolverine. So, can I? Is there anything else on your list, Barry?
One more, and that's Alien Romulus, and that's it.
Okay, good. There's one. I want to bring up one after that. So,
Okay.
Alien Romulus, gentlemen. Aron, I'm going to start with you. What were your thoughts? Did you get a chance to see Alien Romulus?
Ugh. Ugh.
You know why
Unfortunately.
why aren't your written reviews as succinct as these reviews? You know what I mean? I mean, I love your written reviews, but these are much more succinct, and I really like your oral reviews.
You need more sound effects in your reviews, Aaron. That's
Yeah,
what we're
you need
saying.
a lot more in your
Yes. I should have just done that. Alien Romulus. Ugh.
We'll put that on the poster.
I put that on the poster. What were you disappointed in?
I was just bored. Like,
Ooh,
it
interesting.
wasn't anything original.
Okay.
It was. There wasn't anything really inventive.
Okay.
The only part I truly enjoyed was the zero gravity bit.
That was.
Where she was
I
taking
agree.
out all the different aliens.
100%.
That was pretty.
That was great.
Very cool.
Yes.
Even though it reminded me of Colin Farrell's Total Recall.
Okay, how dare you bring up that sacrilege of a film? But I'll allow it.
That's like A+ cinema compared to Alien Romulus.
Gosh, you're out of your freaking mind. Fair enough.
Yeah. No, I wasn't a fan of Romulus.
Yeah, Barry, what about you? What was your thoughts on Alien Romulus?
I really enjoyed it. I think using Ash as a character as well as a plot device, I thought that was very hot and cold. I wish they had gone in a different direction. I heard all this buzz leading into the movie that like, oh, they brought back a classic character, and I thought, oh no. I really thought it might have been Sigourney Weaver. They may have found a way to implicate her, but using an actor who is no longer with us and recycling a performance.
That was a bold choice.
We've been seeing this a lot lately. There's
bold
a lot
choice.
of examples, and and we can't be glib like, oh, this is a Disney thing. I mean, remember 20 years ago we had Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, which recycles footage of Laurence Olivier. So this is not like the newest thing. They've been doing this a while. But this was another example. I thought it's somewhat egregious because the pixels are giving the performance. It's not the actor. We're not actually using footage of him. So, I've mixed feelings about that, about Peter Cushing being in Rogue One. So, I thought that was kind of a bad call, honestly, because it's one thing for this to be utilized, like Jeff Bridges in Tron Legacy, love it or hate it, that's his performance. He's giving it, and that's the take on the character. In this case, it feels a violation is a strong word, I realize, but that's the only one that comes to mind. I think the movie survives it, and I think there are enough good set pieces, and certainly the visually. I mean, Fede Alvarez, I love this director. The movie is visually gorgeous, and the special effects were great. And I did jump, I did scream a few times, I really did. I enjoyed the film a lot, but to say the least, I mean, I don't think this is one of the best Alien movies. I don't, but I had fun with it.
I will say this. I thought, okay, this is going to come out completely wrong, but I thought Fede Alvarez could do better than this. Because to me, and this is the problem with this movie for me. This felt like a teen slasher version of an Alien movie. That's what it felt like to me. Because we had all of these young characters, all of them are a little sassy, all of them are a little rebellious. They're trying to get off this world. It felt very teenage horror movie-esque.
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
No, not at all. It's the youngest. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron. I think this is the youngest cast we've ever had for one of these movies.
Yeah.
I think in my honest opinion, I think that's where you lost me. And the reason why you lost me was because Alien was such a mature and adult sci-fi movie franchise. In my opinion, I think that this movie, and once again, I didn't hate this movie. I actually kind of enjoyed it. But I think that this movie makes Alien Resurrection look like a masterpiece. And I know that's bold, but I'm telling you, it makes it look like a masterpiece. I think that
Alien
movie.
Resurrection.
So did I. I think that movie is incredibly underrated. Incredibly underrated. Aron left again. All right, there he is. He's back. I think that Alien Romulus, unfortunately for me, should have been and could have been a much better film if they had attacked it in a more mature fashion and not done it with kids. That's just me. And I know that he was trying to do something different because that's what we've been doing with Alien the whole time. But I think we've already had enough of that already. I mean, all the Alien movies and all of the lately, all of the sci-fi movies and all of the comic book movies are all geared towards teenagers. We wanted something a little more adult. And so, I mean, Fetty made Evil Dead the remake, and that was great. Fetty's good at that. He made Just Breathe.
Yeah.
Don't breathe. Not Just Breathe. Don't breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Isn't that a Faith Hill song? I don't know. Anyway, I can't remember.
No, Breathe is Faith Hill from Pearl Harbor.
Breathe is Faith Hill. Okay, that's right. Breathe is that.
Thank you, Aaron, for clarifying that.
Appreciate it. Thanks for
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up.
I'm the president of Michael Bay's fan club.
That you are.
Can I just mention a film that I think went completely under the radar.
Okay.
And I don't think it counts as a summer movie, unfortunately, but I'd like to give this film its due. And I think if people watch us or listen to us, I hope they give this film a chance. I think that the best movie that this year, one of the best movies so far this year, has been The Fall Guy with Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling. I think not enough people went to see it. In my opinion, I think it was a terrible idea. Once again, this is based off of a property that I don't think a lot of people are familiar with.
No.
And I think that when you say something like Colt Seavers, no one's going to know anything other than guys like us. Okay? So, but I'm going to tell you this. That Fall Guy movie was so much fun. It was so action-packed. It had a fun little love story in it. It was whimsical. It was enjoyable. It was really breezy. I thought that they had great chemistry. Gosling and Blunt had great chemistry together, and I don't think enough people saw it. It's available now. Go watch that movie. It's great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That's number one. Number two, a movie that you did not bring up that I don't remember you brought up. One of the best movies of the summer, Bad Boys: Ride or Die, was tremendous for me. Tremendous. I thought it was great. And I like all of them, but I think that the last two are completely just very good. Just really good. And so Ride or Die, I recommend that wholeheartedly. Did you watch it, Barry?
I did. Yeah, I agree with you on the third film. I thought Bad Boys 3 was so much better than it had any right to be. And
yes.
I thought it, for me, it tied everything together. I liked that the new one tried to be an extension of that and raise the stakes that way. But for me, the thrill is gone.
I think you have a point, and I think that this should be the last film. I agree with you on that. I don't think there should be another one. Aron, do you feel as strongly as I do about Ride or Die?
Yes. I feel like they're getting better each movie.
I agree. That's the crazy part, right?
It's kind of like the Mission Impossible thing.
Yes.
Like Mission Impossible gets better each movie.
It's so
I think that's
weird.
What's happening in Bad Boys.
It's so weird that he says that. Like, I like Bad Boys 1. I thought Bad Boys 2 was better. I love Bad Boys 2. I thought Bad Boys 3 was much better. And then I thought Bad Boys 4 was great. So I'm with you, Aron, 100% on where the Bad Boys franchise is going.
Michael Bay any day. But I like what these guys are doing. They're bringing much more human elements.
Yes.
And doing something completely different instead of just Bayhem.
It feels like
so I appreciate that.
I agree with you 100% because it feels like these guys are human, right? I mean, 3 and 4 felt like these guys were human, especially in this one, where they almost it almost feels. And what's so great about Ride or Die is that it almost feels like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence switch roles. They switch the characters
because the last movie
It's
was
great.
all about Will Smith.
Correct.
This one's all about Martin Lawrence.
Correct.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I broke my boycott on Will Smith just to watch this movie. I don't know if I mentioned that. I have a Will Smith boycott. After his antics with Chris Rock, I cut him out of my life. But I only made an exception for Bad Boys. So I have to give him props on Bad Boys Ride or Die. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think more people should see it. It's available now, streaming. Everyone should own it. Very good movie. Highly enjoyable.
But that's why he's smart to do another Bad Boys, because he knows people will go to it.
Bingo.
And kind of redeem his career just a
tad. They're going to be like me, and they're gonna lift their Will Smith ban. I agree. That's what's gonna happen. Now that we've pretty much gone over the movies of the summer, from your, I know you came in late, Aron, but overall you keep up with the movies as well. I'll start with you, Barry. How do you think this summer shaped up?
I was surprised that we had as many hits as we did. Certainly from a financial perspective, it was exciting to see so many people going back to the movies and people getting excited about so many films. For me, I mean, it was kind of like it was every summer. There's always like a couple that kind of jump out. There's a couple that I love, and there's a lot of stuff that, I'm just, why am I here? But for the most part, I was really happy with it. And I love that so many of these movies, I mean, they need to be seen on the big screen. That was one of the things about Alien Romulus. I thought, this is a beautiful movie. It needs to be seen on the big screen. And
Right.
Thank you for bringing up The Fall Guy, because that's another movie. Like, it needs to be seen on the big screen.
I agree.
You're watching it at home. So I love that there was that quality to it, because on the one hand, Horizon had that. I mean, it really is a big screen movie, and it's intended for that. And obviously that was an experiment that didn't quite play for audiences. But at the same time, I love that these movies, they're playing with a very big toy box. And I love that, it's really about the experience of cinema, how cinema can be transportive and world building. It's not a given that these summer movies are going to be that good or that ambitious, or certainly that they're going to just give you such a rich sense of cinema. But we had that this year. That was really exciting. I mean, last year when Indiana Jones and The Flash didn't play, for me, that was kind of heartbreaking. So the fact that so many movies, particularly Alien Romulus, and one that I want to throw out really quickly, my sleeper for the summer, which didn't even appear in theaters, but it was Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I loved that movie.
So did I.
Couldn't be happier that Beverly Hills Cop 4 works, and it's funny, and it was exciting, and it definitely pulled from the Bad Boys formula, this idea of moral responsibility for this character that we grew up loving. I think that movie works really well.
I think that Axel F was that was a coup for Netflix to do. I think Axel F was fantastic. I really thought that the fact that he's getting older, they play into that. The fact that he's a different person, that he's trying to be a different person, they play into that. I really thought that Axel F definitely went under the radar, and I think that more people should watch it. If you don't have Netflix, Beverly Hills Cop Axel F is great. Even though, to be honest, I think that the subtitle for that movie sucks. I don't know. I think Axel F is such a dumb subtitle for that movie, but that's
you got to know the song, because if you're as old as we are, you do because otherwise people are like, what's the F stand for? Yeah.
Aron,
apparently Netflix left a lot of money on the table with that movie, because with the ratings, the rubric, they're like, oh man, like we probably could have made our $150 million investment back if we'd put it in theaters.
Yeah, it's possible. I agree. Aron, now looking at you, how do you think the summer shaped up?
It was okay. The one movie I was looking forward to got pushed back to next year, which was Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
because that was supposed to be this summer. But for me, my most anticipated summer was Horizon, which unfortunately didn't resonate with audiences.
No, it did not. But we're supposed to get the second one. Let's be optimistic.
Yeah. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, it's true. That's also very true. You know, what was it you brought up before Horizon? Oh, Mission Impossible. It
Yeah.
is interesting. For as good as Mission Impossible did, it didn't do good enough. Did you notice that? Because it should have. Because Aaron's right. That should have came out this year, and it's so funny that they pushed it back because of they wanted to. I guess they wanted to fix up the script, and they wanted to kind of rethink it because they didn't think the movie didn't do as well as it should have. And it's like, I don't know. I felt that movie was fine. I didn't have
Yeah.
any. I thought that movie was. I thought the story was kind of inventive about AI, and I mean the only thing about that movie that I felt even remotely criticizing is that I didn't think Isai Morales is that menacing. You know what I mean? I mean, other than that, I thought. And by the way, for those of you who don't know who Isai Morales is, okay, do your homework. Um,
Well, who is he to you though, Greg? Because like I go to La Bamba, that I always have to
right, that's
Richie for me. That's Isai
Richie.
Morales for me.
Yeah, that I completely agree. 100% agree
You
with
know the
that.
thing about that Mission Impossible movie is that it got completely blindsided by Barbie and Oppenheimer, which completely sucked all of the air out of the room. I agree with you. I thought the last Mission Impossible was wonderful. I think it's one of the best ones, if not the best of the sequels.
I
But
agree.
so apparently they're like, okay, we gotta go back to the drawing board. Not only because it didn't, I mean, it was a money loser. It was the first Mission Impossible movie that
Yes.
made the third one.
Yes. Right. So you have now you have a problem. This was Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Right.
So we
So
have
apparently
really,
that subtitle is gone. It's going to be a completely different title and different
correct.
place. Yeah.
Correct. And that's actually kind of a real shame. So I don't know. I hope whatever script changes they're doing, I, I'm gonna trust Tom Cruise
And Tom
and his
Cruise, we
and
trust.
and that's right. And I'm gonna trust in Tom Cruise and his relationship to Xenu, and hopefully we'll have a good next Mission Impossible film. So that's good. So overall, you're Aaron, you believe that this summer should have been better or could have been better?
Yeah. Honestly, it could have.
Yeah.
There was no real like big. It was missing that big summer blockbuster that we
Yeah.
are so used to getting. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of great little films that came out that.
And you see, once again, I don't want to get into this whole thing because that's a good point you're making, Aaron. That's a great point. This is the problem, right? People don't want to go to the movies, go to a movie theater for small films. Not anymore, in my opinion. I think we have to cut back on the budgets. We need epic movies without epic runtimes. I keep saying this over and over again. After COVID, everything should be an hour and a half to 2 hours long. That's it. We shouldn't be having these incredibly long movies anymore. We should be having these 2-hour movies. Listen, we did it for how long? How long have we done it? We've watched so many movies from the 30s to 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and especially the 80s. So many fantastic movies that were an hour and 45 minutes, right? It just, but it seems like every movie is 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Like we were talking about the latest Apes movie. That was a long movie. You're 100% right. I just think that we should have epic movies that look epic in scope, but also trim them down as far as runtime. And I think we may have something in that respect. So, I mean, I mean, as far as movie theaters go, I think that's where we should be. In my opinion, I still think that theaters are going by the wayside. I think what should actually make a comeback are drive-in theaters, but that's just me because that's a way to watch a movie. So
Well, my third best.
Drive-in theaters picked up around the pandemic. I mean, they were
Correct.
selling out all over the world. And they didn't even need new product. They were doing double features of Beetlejuice and Point Break and all these old films.
Yes.
And people by the wayside. It was the one way to see a movie that everyone felt safe. It was nostalgic. It was fun.
Yep.
And there are drive-in theaters all over the world, not just in America, all over the world that are doing well. They've got a very strong following. There's a site, I got to say, it's called carload.com. If anybody, whether you're on the mainland or you're going to visit the mainland, check it out. Find out where your drive-in movie theater is. They're all over the place, and they're making such a kick-ass comeback right now. I love that people are going to drive-in theaters. You're right, because they've always been a mainstay. We used to have the Cam Drive-In on Oahu, which I love the Cam Drive-In,
and we had the Kailua Drive-In.
Nice.
Yeah, 100%. The Kailua Drive-In was right next to the dump. Not joking.
So hopefully the wind is going one way.
The wind, correct. It was. The wind was going, so we wouldn't have to smell it during but it was great. There's something incredibly wonderful about a drive-in theater. But getting back to the point, summer this year has been mediocre. And ironically, as we lead into this, as we kind of wind down the show, looking at our fall movie preview, fall is not looking that great right now. I mean, am I wrong here? Because
I don't know. You're not wrong, Greg, but you know how it always is though. Like it's almost like election season. It's really about what happens in the last couple of weeks. It's not what happens, months out. You know how it is. Like right now, like for example, like the Hawaii Film Critics Society, we just, we've just been alerted of this movie called The Real Pain, which is building. But the thing is, 2 months from now, there might be some movie that's completely off the radar. Clint Eastwood has a movie coming out this year, and it might be like Best Picture worthy, and that'll be like the big film, in November or December. So all I have to say, like, it happens all the time with these summer, with the fall movie season, where it really is like whoever steps up to plate, and there's so many of these things. I mean, it's even more so than the summer movie season, where these films, they cannibalize each other. And if you're not a contender within a week or so, you'll go away.
You're done.
And
that's it. 100%. I completely agree with you. And I think that has become the measuring stick. That's why Fall Guy didn't do so well. It was in the movies for 2 weeks, and then it hit digital. That was crazy. It was absolutely insane.
By the way, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that love that film.
It's a great movie. It's an absolute great movie. But if we're looking at, and I'm gonna kind of go down the list here. I'm gonna start with the end of September. Just a couple of things, and stop me if you find anything. Some of the standouts for the fall movie season has been Transformers 1, The Substance, which is getting some very mixed reviews, but I've heard that it is quite controversial. I think our good buddy Aron has already seen it. Have you not, Aron? It was one of those one-word reviews again. All right, fair enough. Also, coming out, that's the one starring Demi Moore, by the way, and Dennis Quaid.
It's good. I've seen it. I like The Substance. It's gross. It's the grossest movie I've ever seen in a movie theater. It made me physically uncomfortable at times, but I really liked it. It's inventively made, and Demi Moore gives one of the best performances of the year, I think.
I heard it's also a commentary on Hollywood itself.
I agree with the Demi Moore thing.
Is it a commentary on Hollywood as well? Is that from what I understand?
It is, but it doesn't go far enough. I mean, this movie really could have dealt with some, I don't know, maybe I almost said it, the movie could have dealt a little more world building. Maybe not. Sure. Maybe it's best just as is. I mean, it feels like a really disgusting Twilight Zone episode if it were directed by, like David Cronenberg.
You've used that word disgusting more than once.
Yeah, and it's apropos.
Okay. All right.
There's a scene early on where Dennis Quaid is eating shrimp, and the camera is just all over his mouth while this stuff is sluicing out of his mouth. The little shrimp heads are stacking up. It's not the visuals, it's the sound effects that get you. And I know this movie's gross because there's nothing that makes me more uncomfortable in a movie than the shot of someone putting a syringe in their arm. Yeah. This movie has at least a dozen of those shots, and it's the least disgusting thing in The Substance. So the movie will challenge your cringe factor, but it's good. It's a good movie. It is.
All right. Well, then I guess I'm going to have to watch it. You made a much more compelling case than Aron did. So I have.
I use too many words. Aaron just needs one. He just needs one.
He just needs one. That's why I like his reviews. They're so succinct.
I was digging it until the final act.
Okay.
Actually.
Fair enough. Don't ruin it for me because I want to watch it. Also, coming out, which was supposed to make it in theaters or in select theaters, but now on Apple TV, Wolves with George Clooney and Brad Pitt. I've heard. I've heard. Oh, is that you said more than one word? Is it good?
Oh my gosh, it's great.
Okay, good. All right, it's currently on Apple TV.
It's undeniably fantastic.
Okay. Without spoiling it, what is the movie like? What would be the best comparison to? What is it? Is it like a mystery thriller? Is it a noir movie? What is it?
No, it's like a crime caper. It's a crime comedy.
Okay, got it.
It's got if you cross David Mamet with the banter of Ocean's 11 and The Odd Couple.
Ooh,
sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, you've convinced me. If you're telling me that George Clooney and Brad Pitt are going to be Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, I'm in.
Sounds good.
It's
really funny.
Okay, good. That's on Apple TV currently. Also, a film that is hitting in September. It's not a film; it's a documentary. Superman, the Christopher Reeve story.
Yeah, that looked good.
Yeah, a lot of buzz on that as well. That should be coming out. That's already out, as a matter of fact.
They're actually extending the showings. Because
is it here? Is it here in the islands?
It was. I'm not sure if it still is.
Ah, crap.
Yeah.
Okay. Also coming out this fall. Like I said, we're almost at the end of September here. There is one of the biggest films of the end of this month. Is the one that you guys just saw, Megalopolis. The new Francis Ford Coppola movie. Aron. All right, sweet. All right, we're batting 1,000 right now for bad movies with Aron. We're batting 1,000. That's not good. Barry, you might have a different take.
I do. Very, very different. I mean, look, the movie is crazy. It is. There's scenes in it that don't work. There are side characters that don't make any sense. You've got actors like Jon Voight, Dustin Hoffman. I don't know what they're doing. It looks like they're doing Brando impersonations, I think. The movie is just, it's too much. However, there's brilliance in it. There's beauty in it. There's a richness to it. It's about the agony of creating. And it extends to the filmmaker. It extends to the characters. There are so many scenes in it that are still doing somersaults in my imagination. It's a film visually, the music. There's so much pleasure to take from that film. I can't wait to see it again. I loved it. It's not perfect. It does not need to be. Frankly, the movie could use one more cut. So
see, that's what I was just about to ask. If we
get another cut of it, great. The movie probably needs one little polish. It's not Francis Ford Coppola's masterpiece, but I think it's certainly it's his most personal film, and it has some of my favorite movie moments of the year. So for me, it's one of the best of the year. I love Megalopolis.
Can I be honest with you? Francis Ford Coppola has a tendency to leave a bunch of stuff on the cutting room floor that he loves, and then he just reassembles it. I mean, he did it with Apocalypse Now. He did it with Godfather Part 3. One that I got to throw out, because one that Aaron really got me into, and I didn't think it would be that good. He did a new version of the Cotton Club a few years ago. Yes, he did. That is fantastic. Cotton Club, I thought, was always kind of middle ground for him. It is. Seeing the Cotton Club encore, that's one of the best movies. I love that. I agree. 100%, because I own it. You're 100% right. The Cotton Club encore is fantastic. 100%. So I have a feeling that this is not his final vision of Megalopolis, is what I'm assuming. I hope not. Yeah. I think I'm going to wait. That's what I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to wait until he brings out the final version. As much as I didn't like this version, I'm willing to see his other cuts of it. Right. Because I know there's so much more. Right. 100%. I mean, and I think Francis Ford Coppola has we can afford him that luxury because of the great films that he's given us in some respect. So I think I can afford him that. I can afford him that. The respect that I have for his work, I think I can wait and watch it the way he intended it. So,
But what if this is it, guys? What if this is the only cut? What if this is it?
How dare you? Francis Ford Coppola is just like Oliver Stone. He does not let sleeping dogs lie. All right, it's going to happen. No way. Also, moving on to October, a couple of possible hits. There is the biggest one of October in the very beginning is going to be Joker Folie à Deux.
Wow, well done. You said the French title. I'm so impressed with you right now, Greg.
Can I tell you that the early reviews are not good for that film? But then again, there are a bunch of, I don't think that I shouldn't say that it wasn't well received, but I think there was a lot of criticism about the first Joker. So I think I may give this one a chance. But the only thing that is taking me away from giving it a chance is Lady Gaga. But to be fair,
how dare you?
I think she's terrible. I hate her as a singer.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
I can't stand her.
I mean, forget her. Forget the stuff on the radio. Really, A Star Is Born, House of Gucci.
Oh, no, I was just about to say that's the only way she gets a pass from me is because of House of Gucci and
She's
A Star Is Born.
Yeah, no, I'm not the biggest fan of her music either, but I do think she is a wonderful actress. Actually,
okay, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, you keep thinking of her that way. She's great on the screen. Joker is it's not okay. How can I put this? This is not the movie that we were expecting.
Yeah.
Right? This is a movie this is not what we were expecting. He's giving us something completely different. I am very curious as to what he is giving us, but the way they set this up as a musical is very enthralling or intriguing to me. Not enthralling, intriguing to me.
It looks like a Dennis Potter musical. It looks like the Singing Detective or Pennies from Heaven. Yeah.
Correct. 100%. I completely agree with you on that. Another big movie of the fall, still in October. Ironically, Terrifier 3. The second Terrifier, for what it was, did good at the box office. For as low budget as it was. That's actually, the Terrifier movies are pretty good. Also in October, there is Smile 2. First Smile was great, by the way. If you've never seen it, you should. Very highly recommended. Did you watch Smile?
I love the first Smile. I thought it was very effective, and it really scared me. It really did. Smile 2, it feels like Paranormal Activity 2. It felt like they really rushed to get this out there. I hope it's good. I thought the trailer was really good.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I mean, they got that thing out really quick.
They did. So they absolutely did. Suspicious. I agree with you as well on that. One of the other movies that I did not mention going wide release in October is Saturday Night.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, Saturday Night is going wide in the theaters. October 11th, if I'm not mistaken. So that movie, and this is what's interesting is that I'm very interested to see this because this is the reason why Jason Reitman couldn't do Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire.
Yeah.
So I hope it's good. I really do. So I'm intrigued. The not using that word too much, but intrigued by the trailer of it, and I think that I don't know if we're gonna get the whole story, you know what I mean, but I do hope that we get something. I don't want them to fawn all over Saturday Night Live. I want to kind of, because the first season, although memorable, was very turbulent from the history.
It's hit and miss. I agree with you. Like watching those old episodes, we remember Coneheads, we remember the Samurai, remember the Bees, but like not all those skits were top notch. There's a lot of dated stuff. I don't know that the Muppets ever had a really good place on Saturday Night Live. Like there's so much about that first season that was very hit and miss, and we tend to romanticize that era of Saturday Night Live. But at the same time, it's one of the greatest shows of all time, and
Right.
one of the greatest ensembles of all time.
Right.
But look, I mean, I think you're right, Greg. I don't know how they couldn't make something that just fawns over one of the most fond shows ever.
Right. That's what I'm worried about. Also, opening up in October, Venom: The Last Dance. I do think that will be the last Venom. So I think we're done with that. And then moving on to November, a couple of other ones, like you had said before. A Real Pain comes out November 1st.
Yeah.
The one starring Jesse Eisenberg. That is that. If by the way, don't ask us. Go watch the trailer. Go watch the trailer for Real Pain. It's out there right now. Also, a film that that I saw the trailer for and I'm very interested in because it's A24, Heretic with Hugh Grant.
Yeah, that looks great. Looks
Right?
great. Yeah.
Right. It definitely does. Also in November, we're getting another Marvel movie, but by Sony. We're getting Kraven the Hunter, the movie that we were supposed to get last year.
Yeah.
So
this is a good actor. This is a good director. So I can't help but be a little bit optimistic. But I'm with you. Like it's been pushed back so severely. I hope it's worth waiting for. It's not going to be something that just vanishes in a week. I love this character. I mean, this is a big one for me. I love this character, and I've loved the Kraven comics. But I don't know. But J.C. Chandor is a terrific director. So
listen. As long as it's better than Morbius, I think we'll be fine.
That's a guilty pleasure for me, but you're not.
I agree. I'm not. That's not a dig because I actually think Morbius is actually kind of fun, and I think it was
fun. Yeah,
it's a fun.
Not good, but fun.
That's what I mean. I think Kraven should be better than Morbius, is what I'm saying.
Probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Aaron Taylor Johnson is a fantastic actor. I think
he is a great actor. By the way, he's great in The Fall Guy. So
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Great in The Fall Guy. By the way, possibly the next James Bond.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Weirdly, when I think of it, people think of Kick-Ass, I think of his performance in Nocturnal Animals because he really scared me in that movie. That performance made me very uncomfortable. And I believe he was Oscar nominated for that movie.
That whole freaking movie made me uncomfortable. Freaking A.
I love that film. Yeah, Tom Ford's Nocturnal Animals. Check it out.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah, by yourself. Don't sit with your family to watch that. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's a tough movie. I love that film.
Also coming out in November, Red 1. The trailers have started to hit the social medias and hit the internet. Red 1 starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and Chris Evans. It is a Christmas movie about Santa being kidnapped. It looks fun. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you. I think it looks kind of fun. It looks enjoyable. This movie shouldn't have gone to theaters. This movie should have went exactly where it was supposed to when they said they were going to put it out. This movie is being made by Amazon, and they should have put this out on Prime.
Oh yeah. It looks like that kind of movie.
Exactly.
But look, I mean, I didn't think Arthur Christmas was going to be good, and that's a wonderful film. So who knows? I mean, I would love for them to knock it out and come up with a Yuletide classic. I don't know. I didn't know that Elf was going to be what it was when I saw it. I loved Elf. I didn't think it would be a movie that everybody watches every year. So I'd love for them. I'd love for it to work. But it does feel a little too calculated
thank God that we're that we never got an Elf 2. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Just leave that alone. Yeah. Also coming out in November, at the end of November, Wicked. This movie was shown everywhere for a couple of months and then just disappeared. Did you notice that? The movie trailer was available. Everybody, there was on television, and then it just disappeared. Now, no, there's nothing. There's no advertising for it. Nothing. It's October. It's practically October, and there's nothing. So, I don't know what's going on.
Maybe they're afraid of overexposure.
Possible.
Who knows what the logic is? I mean, I don't. My question is, I'm dating myself. 20 years ago, the Phantom of the Opera movie came out, and everyone assumed it was going to be this monster blockbuster because the musical was one of the most beloved. But the thing is, like, we're talking about a Broadway musical in New York.
Right.
All that to say, like, does Wicked have that appeal? I don't know that it's still
I don't know if it does either.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it does either. Anyway, moving on. Wicked. Ariana Grande's in it. Aaron, any comment?
Ugh.
Oh wow. Fair enough.
I'm not a fan of her acting. So
Fair enough.
What
Also,
else has she done, guys?
That's
I don't know her as an actress. What else has she done?
isn't she a Nickelodeon television star?
yeah, she does a lot of bit parts and stuff. But
There you go. Also coming out the same day as Wicked, Gladiator 2.
There you go. Yeah. I'll see that. Yes.
Yeah. Gladiator
Yes.
2.
Absolutely.
So Gladiator 2, and then finally, because they haven't really released anything for December yet. I mean, as far as the movie slate for December, the last movie of the fall so far is Moana 2. That comes out November 27th.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Apparently, I love what I heard about it, which is that they kind of stumbled upon how good it is. It was supposed to be straight to streaming. And that's what happened with Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 was supposed to be straight to video, and they looked at it like, this is fantastic. We got to put this in theaters. So that kind of vote of confidence, I think that's really encouraging, as opposed to something that's predestined to be, some money machine. If they actually genuinely believe in it, and that they think it's more special than even they initially thought. So I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I'm not. I thought the first Moana was overrated. I didn't think it was that good, and I'm not rushing out to theaters to watch Moana 2. Not gonna lie.
How about the Moana live action remake?
Oh, pass. Hard pass. Hard pass. Even the fact that Dwayne The Rock Johnson's in it, it's a hard pass for me. Gentlemen, now that we've kind of wrapped everything up and got the previews rolling, before we get out of here, any special mentions about anything that you've seen that you would recommend that people put on their radar?
The one I'll throw out is The Primevals, this movie that they started making back in the 60s and 70s, and they recently just finished it. Full Moon Entertainment finally put it out. It is a charming B film with some of the most wonderful stop motion effects you've ever seen.
As in that Full Moon Entertainment?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. This
wow.
is a movie that David Allen, who's made some of the greatest stop motion of all time. David Allen's like one of those guys like Ray Harryhausen. They started making this movie decades ago, and they came so close to finishing it in the 90s, and then David Allen passed away. So Charles Band put together a crew of animators. He put together just a crew to finish this thing. The Primevals predates Indiana Jones, but it's that kind of a movie. It's a little bit like The Mummy. You've got aliens, you've got yetis, you've got monsters. It's a charming movie. It's really funny and really sweet. It's a B film, but it is pure. There's nothing snarky about it, nothing cynical about it. You could find it on Amazon. Primevals. It's the kind of movie I would have loved when I was a little kid, and now being an adult, I've seen it like 4 times.
Oh wow! All right, fair enough. Aaron, what about you? What is not on the ick scale right now?
Let's see. For me, my pick is this movie called Touch from Balthazar Kormaker. It was very limited release, but it's on Vudu. It's on Apple.
You mean the guy who made Contraband?
Contraband.
All right.
Everest.
All right.
Two Guns. He made
Okay.
a love story that spans over years between Japan and America, and it's truly fantastic.
It's called Touch, and it's available now.
It is. Yeah.
All right. So to tell you where I'm at before we go, what was I gonna say? There's only right now. there's actually a couple things I want to recommend. Number one, if you have Netflix, I highly, highly, highly recommend Mr. McMahon. Amazing documentary about Vincent McMahon. 6 episodes long. It's a 6-hour doc, and it's about his ascent and fall in the WWE. It's absolutely fascinating. Even if you're not a fan of wrestling, I think it's something that you should definitely take a look at. I was absolutely floored by it. I mean, I know a lot of the stories in it. I wish it got into a little more of the stories that I didn't know. But overall, I would say that is without a doubt probably the most fascinating thing that I have watched, and I highly recommend that. So yeah, by all means, if you have the time, take a look at the first episode and see what you think, because I very much recommend that film. That documentary, much better than I expected, for sure. So go watch that. And then you know what movie we never talked about? And
Quiet Place Day One.
What's that? Quiet
We
Place.
didn't talk about A Quiet Place Day One. I realized that. It's a good film, by the way.
I was just gonna say that was one. And the other one we didn't talk about because it came out at a weird time was the Ministry of Gentlemanly Warfare.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But yes, I'm glad you brought up Day One because I was just about to bring it up. If you have not, take a look at it. This the first one that is not directed by John Krasinski. It's directed by the man who directed Pig with Nicolas Cage. Recommend that wholeheartedly. Take a gander at it. You'll be pleasantly surprised. And you're right. Overall, do you think that movie, once again, that movie didn't do too well at the box office either? But I hope it picks up traction now that it's available digitally. That's my hope for Day One. Yeah. And last but not least, this is not a recommendation, but there's the final 2 movies that I wanted to recommend, or not recommend per se, but 2 movies that flew under the radar this time around. Number one was It Ends With Us, and because there's so much controversy surrounding that right now. I don't know if anybody knows that there are 2 cuts of this film. The director and Blake Lively did not agree on the cut, but ultimately his cut went to theaters. Hers didn't, so there's a little animosity there. They didn't tour together, the whole 9. It Ends With Us is now available digitally. So it's very interesting. I'd love to see the other cut if it's available. Did you get to watch It Ends With Us?
I haven't seen it. I know Aaron has seen it.
Any good?
My third best movie of the summer.
Wow. Third best.
I love that movie.
What are the other 2? What are 1 or 2?
Yeah, well, yeah.
1 was Touch. 2 was Fresh Kills.
Oh, the Esposito movie.
Esposito, self-financed movie by Jennifer Esposito.
That's it.
About the mob life through the women's eyes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So good.
Very cool.
Very good.
It's available. That's available digitally, by the way. You should check it out.
Yeah.
By the way, sorry, didn't mean to do this. 2 more.
Okay.
Number 1, the one we didn't talk about. Beetlejuice.
Great film.
Right. It's still doing pretty well in the theaters. It's still out there.
Yeah. Huge.
Doing really good. There are people that really love it, and there are people that really don't like it. So if you have not seen Beetlejuice, I would say take a gander at it. I think it's pretty good. And then last but not least, I have not seen it yet, but I'm putting it on a recommend list only because I want to see how well she directs the film. Blink Twice, the one directed by Zoe Kravitz. So, did you see that, Aron?
Yeah, that was in my top 5 of the summer.
Really?
It's
that good?
So good.
Okay.
It's rough. You know, the whole thing ends up being rough, but it's
Okay, I'm going to
very
ask you
good.
guys. Okay, I'm going to ask you something very controversial, and if I get heat for it, I don't care. But I'm going to ask it anyway. When you make a movie like this, okay, yeah, I know your eyes got big, right? When you make a movie like this, right, and you have somebody like Channing Tatum, okay, very handsome young lad, strapping young lad, as some would say, and you're dating the director. My question is this: is there a purpose behind casting two women that Channing Tatum's character would probably never be interested in from a physical perspective? I know that sounds, I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just saying the two leads in the two female leads that are in the previews, they don't seem to be like his type. You know what I'm saying? If we're looking at it from because in the trailers, they make it look like this guy is a very superficial, kind of overtly sexualized kind of guy, right? Am I looking at that wrong?
No, you need to see the film because the film
Okay.
addresses why they become the object of affection. The
Okay.
movie addresses his taste in the film, so to speak.
Okay, got it. See, that's what I wanted to know. Okay,
The
good.
film addresses all those things. It does.
Okay, excellent. So, okay, then it wasn't as controversial as I thought. I wasn't trying to demean them or I'm not talking about the looks. I'm talking about the characters relating to one another in the film.
Sure,
And
sure.
the way,
No.
yeah, that's what I meant.
No. You're not. No, that's fine. The film addresses it. The film is controversial for other things, and I gotta say, like Aaron, we talked about this recently. The movie opened with a trigger warning, and I thought, come on, I'm an adult.
Right.
I paid to see an R-rated movie. I don't need a trigger warning. But here's the thing, though.
Okay.
Greg, I've seen the movie. I'm glad it's there.
Really?
I'm not kidding. Yeah, the word Aaron used is rough. That's putting it mildly. I think this is a 4-star movie. I do.
Really?
I think it's a superb film. I think Zoe Kravitz is a force to be reckoned with. She made quite the film. She uses Channing Tatum in a way that's very smart, and I got to say, very deceitful. I think he is terrific in this. It's almost like he's cast against type, but I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, the less you know about it going in, the better. But at the same time, that trigger warning is there because there's going to be a lot of kids who think this is going to be like Magic Mike, goes to an island or something. No, it's really, really rough. But I do feel like it's one of the best films of its type, and I can't say what that is. So
wow.
yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I think it's a superb film. I think it's one of the best films of the year. I was not expecting that at all. But it's a haunting, and I'd say even a radical film, a radical take on what you think it is. And again, I can't talk about it, but I recommend it. But man, the trigger warning is no joke.
All right. Well, now you make me want to buy it now.
One of my coworkers, a nurse, she saw the movie and she reported to me because she knows I do movie reviews, and she said, "As a woman, I'm still processing this." And I'm like, after seeing it, I was like, okay, I totally get where you're coming from.
Okay, can I ask you something? Is it you know what? No, I'm not gonna. I want to watch it.
Just watch it.
I just want to watch it. All right, fair. I want to watch it. All right, gentlemen. This has been amazing. I wish you came in earlier, Aron. We were talking up a storm without you, and you missed out on a couple of good ones.
I did see your phone call.
Oh, okay, good.
But then I thought it was a spam call because I never hear from you. So, I didn't answer it.
Such a jerk.
Like, who's that Greg? I don't remember that guy.
How dare you? How dare you? Anyway, gentlemen, I think the next time we meet may very well be right before or possibly right after the Oscars. I don't know which. I don't know what would be better for everybody, but yes, if there's possibly an emergency podcast on the way, just in case if anything big comes out this summer that we really want to talk about. I know this is the season. This is our season. It's very for us in the Hawaii Film Critics Society. It's very hard to do podcasts during the film the fall film season because we have so much stuff to kind of ingest. There's so much stuff to consume at this time for us that it's very hard to do consistent podcasts or what have you over, and so we kind of try to lump everything together after we see everything. So especially now, it's going to be tough because there's going to be a lot of content that we're going to be consuming in the next 3 months, right? October, November, December, yeah. And a little bit of January, I think. But yeah, there's going to be a ton of stuff that we consume. So just know that we will meet you guys back here very soon, and we'll talk more about the movies that you may want to see and movies that you may want to avoid. Now, Professor Barry, where can we, of course, find us, the members of and critics of the Hawaii Film Critics Society? Where can we find Aron's rapier wit in on the internet?
Well, we do have a Facebook page. The Instagram page is forthcoming. That's something I need to just bang out. But no, the Facebook page I like because I do put everything that is put out there. I'll put it on the Facebook page at some point. So yeah, there's a Hawaii Film Critics Society Facebook page, and that's also where we put out our lists, our nominees, and our end of the year list, which is coming up. In a couple months, our best of 2024 list. We put out the nominees, which is also a fun list, but then we get the big one that comes out in January. But yeah, you can find us all over the place. I mean, the Hawaii Film Critics Society.org page is currently being reworked. So the official page it's a work in progress, and I'm hoping to get that fixed very soon. We have one of our members who's working on it very nicely.
Wonderful.
But yep. Yeah. So yeah, check out our Facebook page and occasionally on Instagram. And the nice thing, I love our critics because you put your stuff out there, and I certainly put it out there. So we're not hard to find, and yeah. And so you can find us on Instagram as well.
A bunch of local people getting their thoughts on movies, and giving it to you guys pretty straight, which is great. So right now, a Facebook page and the Instagram page. By the way,
page is coming. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, the ironic thing now is that we can actually go live on Instagram now on the software that we use, which is kind of crazy. So that's kind of neat. Aron, where can we find you?
Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, app on your smartphone, tablet.
Nice. Great app, by the way.
Great way it'll be under Scope 240.
Scope 240.
That's a callback to Michael Bay.
Yeah. Because he uses the 240 aspect ratio. Yeah. Hilarious. So ridiculous. It's good though. That's how I can tell you're a movie file. Where you'll see the majority of my reviews is right here on this show. All right, this is where you'll see them all. So we will be back next year. Unbelievably, I can't even believe we're saying that. We'll be back next year. Only 3 months away, and we look forward to meeting once again to find out how this winter season went, and then move right into spring. So yes, we'll be consuming a ton of content for you guys, and we'll be reporting back to you, tell you what you should see and what you should avoid. So please join us there. Please follow us on Facebook. Follow us on the upcoming Instagram page, which Professor Barry is currently working on. And by the way, Aron, before we take off, there's a new member of the Hawaii Film Critics Society. You know that?
No.
What was his name again?
Emerson Gu, who writes for Film Comment, lives on Oahu. Yes.
Okay.
A great critic.
Yeah, fantastic. Emerson Gu, you can check him out. What's his publication?
Film Comment. Yeah.
Film Comment. All right, fantastic. Hey, listen, can you next time, Aron, could you next time maybe get your best friend on the horn and tell him that he let me down today? Just telling me this let me down because I invited him. I sent him an email. Thought we're doing this thing. I thought I was going to be able to talk to him and kind of get his thoughts. And now I'm sad.
He thought it was just gonna be us and Barry. That's why I think.
Oh. Well, now I'm sad. I feel a little hurt, but
I don't know. I can't speak for him.
Yeah. I know.
I was late, so you know.
Hey, listen, you get a pass because you ended up showing up. So, yeah. But yeah, just give Jaron a little crap for me, would you? And just let him know. And then, yeah, you tell that Choi guy, don't talk to me. No, I'm just kidding.
Myung's a good guy. Myung Choi's a great critic. Tell you what, Greg, Aaron, this was fun being in the clubhouse with you. And the last thing I want to say is that next year makes 10 years of the Hawaii Film Critics Society.
Can you believe that? Isn't that insane? 10 years. We have an anniversary coming up. Maybe we should have like a special screening of something.
We should have a screening of Mad Max Fury Road, which is going to be 10 years old. And that was our first pick for Best Picture of the Year. So say at the Hawaii Film Critics Society. So
that would be so cool. All right. Well, maybe we'll do that. We'll think of something. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening or today, wherever you are, whatever time it is. We're doing it at night. So thank you for joining us today. We certainly do appreciate it. The Hawaii Film Critics Society will be around. Look for our reviews all over this fall and winter. And of course, Hawaii Film Critics Society website will be back up shortly because we're currently working on it. But check out our Facebook page as well and look up Mr. Letterboxd and Professor Barry Wurst because he'll be there and we'll direct you in the ways to go of moviedom. So until next time, for Barry Wurst, Aron, and myself, Greg, peace out, much love, and always go to the movies, would you? See you guys next time. Aloha.
Aloha.
Bingo. Gentlemen.
That was fun, man.
That was fun. Clocked in